Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about something absolutely extraordinary that's being confirmed by major American music press, specifically the San Francisco Chronicle, one of the most respected newspapers in the United States with a long history of serious music criticism and journalism. We're diving into why Jimin's live vocal performances during the 2026 BTS tour are being described as unprecedented, as something critics haven't seen before, as a level of vocal excellence that stands out even in an industry full of talented singers. This isn't just fan enthusiasm or biased opinion, this is professional music critics who review hundreds of concerts and hear thousands of artists saying that what Jimin is doing with his live vocals represents something special, something rare, something that deserves recognition and celebration. So make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're about to explore every dimension of what makes Jimin's live vocals so exceptional, why critics are taking notice, what specific qualities set him apart, and why this recognition from mainstream American music press is so significant for Jimin personally and for K-pop artists more broadly. Let me start by giving you context about the San Francisco Chronicle and why their music criticism carries weight and credibility, because understanding the source of this recognition is important for appreciating its significance. The San Francisco Chronicle is one of the oldest and most established newspapers in California, serving the Bay Area since 1865. Their arts and entertainment coverage, including music criticism, has a long tradition of serious journalism and thoughtful analysis. When SF Chronicle music critics review concerts and artists, they're not just writing promotional puff pieces or casual fan impressions, they're bringing professional expertise, decades of collective experience seeing live performances, deep knowledge of music history and technique, and critical standards that come from having witnessed countless artists across all genres and levels of accomplishment. So when an SF Chronicle music critic, specifically Todd Inoue who has covered major concerts and artists for years, states that Jimin's live vocals in 2026 represent something unprecedented, something they haven't seen before, that carries real weight. This isn't someone who's easily impressed or prone to hyperbole. This is a professional whose job involves maintaining critical perspective and who has seen enough excellent live vocals from enough world-class artists that calling something unprecedented means it genuinely stands out at an exceptional level. The fact that Jimin's live vocal performances are earning this kind of recognition from mainstream American music press tells us that what he's doing transcends genre, transcends cultural boundaries, and represents vocal excellence that any serious music critic can recognize and appreciate regardless of their background or usual areas of coverage. Now let's talk specifically about what makes Jimin's live vocals so exceptional and why critics are describing them as unprecedented. First and most fundamentally, there's the quality of his voice itself, the tone, the color, the distinctive sound that makes his voice immediately recognizable and that creates emotional impact before we even consider technique or skill. Jimin's voice has qualities that people struggle to describe adequately because they're somewhat ineffable, but you hear words like angelic, pure, emotional, touching, sweet, and plaintive used repeatedly. His vocal tone has a brightness and clarity that cuts through musical arrangements and reaches listeners directly, but it also has depth and richness that prevents it from sounding thin or one-dimensional. This combination of brightness and depth, of clarity and richness, is relatively rare and it's part of what makes his voice so distinctive and so effective at creating emotional connection with audiences. But tone alone, while important, doesn't fully explain why critics are calling his live vocals unprecedented. Let's talk about technique because Jimin's technical vocal skills are exceptional and they're on full display during live performances in ways that demonstrate real mastery. His breath control allows him to sustain notes, to sing long phrases without breaking, to maintain vocal quality and pitch accuracy even during physically demanding performances where he's also dancing or moving around the stage. His pitch accuracy is remarkable, hitting notes precisely even in challenging passages, maintaining pitch consistency across different registers, and executing runs and embellishments with precision that comes from serious training and natural ability working together. His vocal range and the way he uses different parts of his voice also contribute to why his live performances are so impressive. Jimin comfortably sings in higher registers that can be challenging for many male vocalists, but he doesn't just reach these notes with strain or difficulty, he delivers them with power and beauty and control. His head voice and falsetto have a quality that many singers spend years trying to develop, and he transitions between chest voice and head voice smoothly rather than with the abrupt breaks that can mar less skilled performances. During the 2026 tour specifically, critics and audiences are noting how confidently and powerfully he's using his full vocal range, taking on challenging passages that showcase his technical abilities while still maintaining the emotional expressiveness that makes his singing so moving. Let me talk about the emotional delivery aspect of Jimin's live vocals because this is where technique meets artistry and where he truly excels in ways that set him apart from many technically proficient but emotionally flat singers. Jimin sings with his whole heart, with genuine emotion that audiences can hear and feel in every note. When he performs songs with emotional content, whether it's the yearning and vulnerability and serendipity, the intensity and passion in Filter, the raw emotion in Like Crazy, or the various emotional colors required in different BTS group songs, he doesn't just sing the notes correctly, he communicates the feeling behind the lyrics, the story being told, the emotional journey of the song. This emotional authenticity creates connection with audiences that goes beyond just appreciating vocal skill. It makes people feel something, it moves them, it creates the kind of memorable concert moments that people talk about for years afterward. Critics are particularly noting this emotional delivery in the 2026 tour performances because it's being showcased more prominently than in previous tours. With the shift that the SF Chronicle critic noted toward more vocal-focused performances and less reliance on intensive choreography throughout entire sets, there are more moments where Jimin and the other members can stand and deliver vocally without the distraction or physical demands of complex dance routines. In these moments, Jimin's ability to create emotional impact purely through his singing, through the way he phrases lyrics, through the subtle variations in dynamics and tone he uses to convey feeling, becomes even more apparent and impressive. This is what critics mean when they say his live vocals are unprecedented. They're witnessing a level of emotional communication through singing that stands out even among professional performers who are technically skilled. Now let's discuss consistency because one great vocal performance can happen through luck or perfect conditions or exceptional effort on one particular night, but delivering exceptional live vocals consistently night after night across a grueling tour schedule represents a different level of accomplishment. The 2026 BTS tour includes dozens of shows across multiple countries, performed in different venues with different acoustics, under varying conditions of weather and altitude and air quality, after long travel and with the accumulated fatigue of performing at the highest level repeatedly. Maintaining vocal excellence under these conditions is extraordinarily difficult, and it's where many singers struggle, either canceling shows due to vocal strain, delivering diminished performances as the tour progresses, or having to significantly modify their vocal parts to preserve their voices. Jimin's consistency in delivering exceptional live vocals across this demanding tour schedule is part of why critics are taking notice and why they're describing what he's doing as unprecedented. Reports from multiple tour stops across different cities and countries consistently mention the quality of his live singing, the power and beauty of his voice, his ability to hit challenging notes and execute difficult passages night after night. This consistency demonstrates not just natural talent but serious vocal training, proper technique that protects his voice while allowing maximum expression, intelligent pacing and vocal care that prevents the kind of damage that can occur from overuse, and professional discipline in maintaining the physical and mental condition required for this level of performance. When critics see an artist delivering at this level consistently rather than having good nights and bad nights, it indicates truly exceptional ability and professionalism. Let me talk about the evolution of Jimin's vocals over time because the critics' recognition of his 2026 performances as unprecedented comes partially from being able to compare his current abilities to his earlier work and seeing clear growth and development. If you listen to Jimin's vocals from BTS's debut era and compare them to his 2026 tour performances, you can hear significant evolution in his technique, his confidence, his control, his artistic maturity, and his understanding of how to use his voice for maximum impact. This isn't to say his early vocals were poor, they demonstrated talent and potential even then, but what we're hearing now represents years of continuous improvement, dedicated practice, professional training, and the kind of growth that comes from performing at the highest levels and learning from that experience. The maturation of his artistry is particularly evident in how he interprets songs now compared to earlier in his career. His phrasing has become more sophisticated, his emotional delivery more nuanced, his understanding of when to push vocally and when to pull back for dynamic contrast more refined. He's developed what could be called a mature artistic voice where he's not just executing what he's been directed to do or singing notes as they're written, but actively making interpretive choices that enhance the emotional impact and artistic merit of performances. This artistic maturity combined with his technical growth creates the unprecedented quality that critics are noting. They're hearing an artist who has reached a level of completeness where natural talent, developed technique, emotional intelligence, and artistic vision all align to create something truly special. Now I want to address the live versus studio comparison because there's an important distinction to make about why Jimin's live vocals are earning this level of recognition. In the modern music industry, studio recordings can be perfected through multiple takes, editing, pitch correction, and various production techniques that create polished final products that may or may not reflect an artist's actual singing ability. Live performance is where you discover whether an artist can truly sing or whether their studio success relies heavily on technological enhancement. Many artists who sound great on recording struggle in live settings, either sounding significantly different from their studio versions, requiring heavy backing tracks or lip-syncing to hide vocal limitations, or simply not being able to replicate the quality and difficulty of their recorded vocals when singing in real time in front of audiences. Jimin represents the opposite of this pattern. His live vocals often match or in some aspects exceed the quality of studio recordings because in live performance you get the added dimensions of emotional immediacy, the energy of live delivery, the connection with the audience, and the spontaneity that can't be captured in studio settings. When critics describe his live vocals as unprecedented, part of what they're recognizing is this rare quality of an artist whose live singing doesn't just replicate studio quality but actually enhances the musical experience through the added elements that only live performance can provide. The confidence to perform vocally demanding material completely live without relying on backing tracks or technological assistance, the ability to maintain vocal quality while also engaging with audiences and moving around the stage, and the artistic choice to sometimes add spontaneous embellishments or variations that make each performance unique. All of this demonstrates the kind of genuine vocal talent and performance ability that critics and serious music listeners value highly. Let's discuss the cultural significance of Jimin receiving this recognition from American mainstream music press because it represents more than just personal achievement. For decades, Asian artists and specifically K-pop artists faced skepticism and dismissal from Western music critics and industry gatekeepers. There was an assumption, sometimes explicit and sometimes implicit, that K-pop was manufactured pop music that relied on visual performance and production values rather than genuine musical talent, that the singers were adequate performers following directions but not serious artists worthy of the kind of critical respect given to Western artists. Having a major American newspaper's music critic describe Jimin's live vocals as unprecedented, as something they haven't seen before even after covering countless Western and international artists, completely shatters these prejudiced assumptions. This recognition validates what fans have known all along, that Jimin is a genuinely exceptional vocalist whose talent would be recognized in any context regardless of his nationality or the genre he performs in. It proves that when Western critics actually pay serious attention to K-pop artists without the filter of prejudice or preconception, they discover the same level of talent and artistry they claim to value in Western artists. And importantly, this kind of mainstream critical recognition opens doors and changes perceptions in ways that create opportunities for other Asian artists. When the SF Chronicle says Jimin's live vocals are unprecedented, it's not just praising one artist, it's contributing to a broader shift in how K-pop and Asian artists are perceived and valued by Western cultural institutions and gatekeepers. Now let me talk about specific performances and moments from the 2026 tour that are generating this critical acclaim and fan reaction because the recognition isn't based on abstract qualities but on concrete performances that people are witnessing and responding to. Multiple tour stops have featured extended vocal showcases where Jimin performs with minimal backing instrumentation, allowing his voice to be the primary focus. These stripped-down arrangements expose any vocal weaknesses and leave nowhere to hide, but instead of revealing limitations, they showcase the full beauty and power of Jimin's voice. His performances of emotionally intense songs where he's delivering dramatic high notes, sustaining powerful phrases, and communicating deep feeling purely through his singing are creating what many describe as the highlight moments of the shows. Fan accounts from various tour stops consistently mention being moved to tears by Jimin's vocal performances, being amazed by the power and beauty of his live singing, and being impressed by how his real voice sounds even better than what they hear on recordings. Critics attending these shows are noting the same qualities: the emotional impact of his delivery, the technical excellence of his execution, the artistic maturity of his interpretations. Specific moments that are being highlighted include his high notes in certain songs that he delivers with both power and beauty, his emotional delivery during ballad sections that creates profound impact, and his ability to maintain vocal excellence even during physically demanding portions of the show where he's moving or dancing. The staging and production of the 2026 tour also contributes to showcasing Jimin's vocals effectively because the shift toward more vocal-focused moments rather than constant intensive choreography creates opportunities for his singing to be featured prominently. There are segments where he performs center stage with spotlight focus, where the musical arrangements highlight his voice, where he has the space and freedom to really deliver vocally without the physical demands of complex dance routines competing for his energy and breath. These moments are where his unprecedented vocal abilities are most clearly on display, and they're what's making the strongest impression on both critics and audiences. Let me address the training and preparation that underlies this level of live vocal excellence because it doesn't happen by accident. Jimin has received serious vocal training from professionals, has worked consistently on developing his technique and expanding his abilities, and has put in the hours of practice and preparation that are required to perform at this level. The discipline involved in maintaining vocal health during a demanding tour, the intelligent choices about how to pace himself and preserve his voice, the physical conditioning that supports vocal performance, all of this represents professional dedication that goes far beyond just having natural talent. Critics recognize this level of preparation and professionalism when they hear it because it shows in the consistency, the confidence, and the control evident in his performances. The collaboration with vocal coaches and trainers, the attention to proper technique that prevents vocal damage while maximizing expression, the understanding of how to warm up properly before performances and how to care for his voice during periods of intense use, all of this professional approach to vocals is part of why Jimin can deliver at such a high level night after night. When critics describe his live vocals as unprecedented, they're responding not just to moments of inspiration or occasional excellence but to sustained high-level performance that indicates serious craft, dedication, and professional expertise supporting the natural talent. Now I want to discuss the specific vocal qualities that critics and audiences are highlighting in their descriptions of Jimin's performances because understanding what makes his voice special helps explain why it's earning this unprecedented recognition. The emotional expressiveness of his voice, the way he can convey vulnerability, passion, joy, melancholy, and complex emotional states through subtle variations in tone and delivery, creates performances that resonate emotionally with listeners regardless of whether they understand the lyrics or share cultural context. This emotional transparency and authenticity in his singing is something that transcends language and cultural barriers, which is why American critics who may not speak Korean and may not be deeply familiar with K-pop can still recognize and respond to the exceptional quality of his vocal performances. The purity and beauty of his tone, particularly in his upper register and falsetto, creates moments of almost ethereal beauty that stand out in live performance contexts. When he sings certain passages, audiences and critics describe the experience as arresting, as creating moments where the entire venue seems to hold its breath to fully absorb the beauty of what they're hearing. This capacity to create those magical moments in live performance where time seems to stop and everyone is completely focused on the beauty of the voice they're hearing is rare and special, and it's a significant part of why critics are using words like unprecedented to describe what they're witnessing. The power and projection in his voice when he chooses to use it, the ability to fill large stadium venues with his sound without straining or losing vocal quality, demonstrates both technical skill and natural vocal gifts. Some singers with beautiful tone lack power, while others with power lack beauty, but Jimin can deploy both depending on what the musical moment requires. This versatility and the intelligence with which he chooses when to sing with delicate beauty and when to sing with powerful projection shows artistic maturity and understanding of performance dynamics that enhances his effectiveness as a live performer. Let me talk about the future implications of this critical recognition because when mainstream American music press acknowledges an artist's exceptional abilities at this level, it creates momentum and opportunities that can shape career trajectories. For Jimin specifically, having his live vocal abilities recognized and validated by respected critics creates credibility that can lead to various opportunities from high-profile collaborations with other artists who want to work with vocalists of his caliber, to special performance opportunities that showcase his vocals, to industry recognition through awards and honors that value genuine talent and artistry. The SF Chronicle's confirmation that his live vocals represent something unprecedented becomes part of his professional reputation, part of how he's perceived by industry decision-makers and by broader audiences who may not be deeply familiar with K-pop but who pay attention to what respected critics say about artists. For K-pop and Asian artists more broadly, Jimin's recognition helps normalize the idea that vocalists from K-pop backgrounds can be among the best singers in the world, not just good for K-pop or impressive considering their idols, but genuinely exceptional by any standard and worthy of being discussed alongside the most respected vocalists from any genre or background. This normalization is important for breaking down the remaining barriers and prejudices that Asian artists face in Western markets and for creating space where talent is recognized and valued regardless of where the artist comes from or what language they sing in. In conclusion, when the San Francisco Chronicle confirms that Jimin's live vocals in 2026 are something they haven't seen before, something unprecedented, they're making a statement that goes beyond just praising one artist's abilities. They're acknowledging exceptional talent that transcends genre and cultural boundaries, they're validating years of dedicated training and professional growth, they're recognizing the combination of natural gifts and developed skills that creates truly special artistry, and they're contributing to a broader recognition of K-pop artists as serious musicians worthy of the same critical respect and appreciation given to any world-class performers. Jimin's vocal excellence, the emotional power of his delivery, the technical mastery he demonstrates, the consistency with which he performs at the highest level, and the artistic maturity evident in his interpretations all combine to create live performances that genuinely deserve to be called unprecedented. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content celebrating exceptional artistry, and let me know in the comments what you think makes Jimin's vocals so special.